Hey, Alan here, and this is about a day after I recorded the Murtaugh Lake video. That's the video that introduces you to the drive to Bryce Canyon. The whole series of videos that are part of this experience are posted at rvacrossamerica.net/Bryce, Bryce. And I'm Alan with rvacrossamerica.net. And Huh. It's May 18. It's Sunday morning. If I look different from the other morning at Murtaugh, it's because I got into Burley here yesterday, Burley, Idaho. And by the way, the wind is blowing at like 50 miles an hour out there. I'm right alongside the Snake River, and I can see whitecaps in the Snake River as the wind is blowing the river upstream. Hopefully, this wind is not going to go on for too long because the more you blow that water upstream, at some point it's got to come back downstream. And we are most definitely in a floodplain here, although I do not expect flooding from this. It's not going to be that kind of event. Anyway, so I got into Burley, and on a Saturday afternoon, after I got my campsite set up, I'm at the Snake River RV Park here in Burley, which, by the way, is kind of a two-bit second-rate RV park, which is about to not be a two-bit second-rate RV park. We'll see if they keep the same great rate that they have. They're $25 a night, but they're building more sites, and some of those sites are going to be right next to the river. So it's going to be a really cool place to stay as soon as they get those sites up and running. They're concrete pads. They've got almost all the concrete poured. All they got to do is pave the road and finish the electric, and I think they're good to go. But I don't know if that's scheduled to happen this year or not. Regardless, this video is highlighting the scenic drive in Bryce Canyon. So again, rvcrossamerica.net/Bryce, Bryce. That'll give you the whole backstory. The scenic drive itself is scenic, but the real scenery is to pull over at the pullouts. And the pullouts are either a gateway to a hike, which some of them are. Isaac and I did several hikes off of those pullouts. But this time, the drive that I take you on is from the back end. I think it's called Rainbow Point, all the way back to the entrance to the park. It's about an 18-mile stretch. So it's about 27 minutes of video. The video has been accelerated by 25%, so it would have been over 30 minutes of video, but I wanted to condense it a little bit. If it looks like I'm driving a little fast, I'm not. It's just that I sped up the video so that you're not spending the entire afternoon watching the video. The road is primarily on an 8,500 to 9,000 foot. I'll use the term mesa if I'm using the geologic term correctly. It's a large, relatively flat stretch that on both sides is surrounded by canyons, so you can't go too far off to either side without dropping a couple of thousand feet or more. And that's what a lot of the overlooks show. And again, if you go to my post, you'll see the video that shows some of those overlooks. And then I've got some other panoramas, a separate video that I'm about to make that will highlight those panoramas that Isaac and I shot. I've got some of his work in there. I got some of my work. And within the post itself, there's literally dozens of photos that are the best of the best. Because between he and I, we took over 500 photos that I've condensed down to maybe, I don't know, maybe about 100 between four different slideshows. So I welcome your feedback on that. Anyway, you're going to see the video of the scenic drive. You're going to see where we pulled out. If you have a map of Bryce or pull it up, you can start at Rainbow Point and kind of work your way back one by one. We stopped at almost every pullout except for a couple that are on the left. And one of the ones on the left is Sunrise Point and Sunset Point. And we didn't stop there because we went there hiking. That's where the Queen's Garden hike is. And there's a lot of footage of the Queen's Garden hike on the post. rvacrossamerica.net/Bryce, Bryce. It'll take you to the actual link that I created, but I create these short links to make it easier for you. Anyway, here it comes. Enjoy it. And hey, let me know what you think of the haircut. I walked into a place Saturday afternoon, walked right in, sat right down. The young lady was a great young lady. And I don't remember the name of the place, but it's in Burley, Idaho. Very accommodating, open till 6 p.m. on Saturdays. Everybody else closes at 3 and they're appointment only. And I'm like, ugh. I even got the senior rate. I got $17 plus tip. So, and no tax. Weird. Anyway, Alan here, rvacrossamerica.net/Bryce. Stay tuned and you'll see the video of the scenic drive. Take care.